Are you feeling overwhelmed trying to lose weight? Overwhelm was the single biggest issue new clients felt when they first started working with us. And managing this is a real tightrope because overwhelm occurs when people have too many contending priorities. So, one way to manage this is to give people no confusion and no contending priorities, and therefore nothing to think about, just things to do. Here is your food, eat that. Here is your exercise, do that. But how does that go? How many people does that actually work for long term? What happens when they can't do their German volume training with intervals at the end? As a random example. You've given people one option they can't or won't or don't want to do. So what happens? What is the other option left? It's obvious, isn't it? Sack it off. Do nothing. Most people think, well, that won't work for me, and there's no other option, so I'm not doing anything. Or I don't know what to do. I can't do that workout, and I'm just lost. Or they'll make themselves do it for a week or two, maybe a month or two at best. But the problem with it is inevitably they're going to stop because it just doesn't work for them. It's not bespoke. And all of this overwhelm is thinking. Literally nothing has happened yet. Not one calorie has been burnt, not one calorie has been consumed or one meal prepped. And people are subconsciously, accidentally creating these stories of failure and difficulty and feelings of worry about the future, which hasn't even happened. As a coach slash entrepreneur involved in the fat loss industry, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Either you give people a cast iron plan to follow to the letter to reduce confusion, which then doesn't work for the majority of people anyway, or, which is what we choose to do, which is to give people lots of freedom, which then unfortunately begins the 1,000-mile, but ultimately essential for long-term success, tightrope walk that is managing your thoughts. The very first of which being overwhelm. At Sustain, we've tried lots of ways to manage this. Shorter videos, less text to read, simpler systems for people to follow. The issue being there will always be people who feel overwhelmed simply because we choose as coaches to not tell you exactly what to do, simply because we don't believe it works long term. Even if it does, which it never does, then it doesn't, or it does sometimes, but almost never does, then it doesn't teach you the skills that you need to A, manage your own life, and B, set a good example to your family and those around you, which applies to the majority of our clients. Unless you want to put your 10-year-old on a diet of 90 grams of chicken with 150 grams of green beans and 150 grams of mash for lunch, wouldn't you rather they just ate nutritious food the majority of the time, have high-calorie food on occasions when it adds to their lives, and not use it as a coping mechanism to deal with the ups and downs of life? I already know which one people prefer. Now, how the hell are you putting that into an app or a PDF to follow? I'm sure AI will manage it one day. That day is not today. So to lasso this little rant of mine and bring some order to it, most people will feel overwhelmed at the start of a new process because they have lots of thinking. Can I eat this? How often can I eat that? What are the best berries for fat loss? What about yogurt? Which yogurt? Fat or low fat? Does it work as a snack? Oh my God. It exhausts me thinking about what my clients think and say, let alone if that was actually in my head for a prolonged period of time. No wonder people find it too much and give in. So what's the solution as a coach? Imagine the PDF that answers all of these questions that new clients have. Jeez Louise, here's your 4 terabyte PDF. It's also available as an 8-hour audiobook, even though only 5 minutes of it's relevant. Of course, that's not going to work. We can and do speak to our clients regularly to answer these questions, but this doesn't fix the issue of people feeling overwhelmed. It scratches the itch rather than heals the wound. What's needed here is for the overwhelmed person to stop. Just stop what you're doing, take a deep breath, stop chasing your thoughts around, and answer this question instead. What brought you to the party? Why are you either heavier than you want to be, or why are your nutritional habits not where you want them to be? Your brain, as someone who struggles with overwhelm, will be very good at finding potential problems and possible warning signs. What you're missing is not more information, but the ability to filter these thoughts. You need to be able to focus on what matters, on what brought you to the party, not just on whatever your brain fancies thinking about. I have the same issue running Sustain. I have a page at the back of my notebook for ideas and a note in my phone. So every time I have my next brilliant idea, I can write it down for later and then focus on the stuff I've committed to doing, but the things that I don't do consistently. I can tell you what these things are. I've been a coach for a prolonged period of time, and I will do shortly. And this is what I see over and over with clients as they stress about minor details, then they skip their breakfast and eat crisps and sweets after dinner. All that stress and drama and endless repetitive thought in your mind about the last 1% to make the most fundamental mistake that's the one that most people fall into. You have a finite amount of headspace and energy. Do not waste this on the areas that don't matter. Mystic Meg over here is going to tell you why most people come to the fat loss party. Not enough protein and veg and slow release carbs. As a result, too much refined and processed high calorie food. In addition to this, a difficulty dealing with thoughts around high calorie food in a way that isn't eating. And likely not enough or suboptimal exercise. It'll be at least one, but likely 2, 3, or all 4 of these things. You'll notice a distinct lack of chat about which brand of pasta, how many grams of protein in your yogurt, or how thick your bread is sliced. People chase these minor details that have 1% impact and ignore these big deal breakers I just mentioned. So focus here. Ignore the chatter in your mind and focus. It's like procrastination at work. We all have the temptation to sack it off, but most of the time we ignore the thought and focus on the task at hand. This is what you need to do too. Stop getting lost in the endless minutiae. It doesn't matter now, and for most people it never will be the defining factor between success and failure for you. This ability to separate thoughts, splitting the useful insights from the useless chatter, is the skill needed at every junction. Eating more nutritious food, eating less high-calorie food, choosing to plan and prepare, or scroll and procrastinate, to get up early or to go to bed late to facilitate a gym session, or spend more time justifying the reasons it can't be done. All of this stems from your thinking. This is the same skill to managing overwhelm. And if you start focusing here and recognizing the skills in your mindset that you're missing, then you can be successful. If you want the magic plan that's specific to you, where you won't feel overwhelmed, but gives you all the details you need, and it only takes 10 minutes to read and prepare for, then good luck. If you found this useful, please like, comment, or share, ideally with an overwhelmed friend, as I want this to help as many people as possible.